Brock Bowers is one of the best kept secrets of the last few years, but now the truth is out and the NFL will never be the same. Brock was born on December 13th, 2002 in Napa, California, a place known for wine and soon to be this guy. Anyways, Brock's parents met at Utah State University, where his mother was an All-American softball player and his father was an All-Big West center on the school's football team. That in mind, it's not a surprise that athleticism was in the bloodline. And so Brock grew up playing a bunch of sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and soccer, which helped him get super well-rounded early on. Brock attended Napa High School, as you could probably guess, where he played both football and basketball. And as a freshman, Brock played quarterback on the school's JV team while running the triple option, because why not? And then the following year joined the varsity team as he played both tight end and linebacker and was able to earn his first college offer from Nevada. Not too shabby of a start, but it only got better when he went to a Nike camp that summer, as his athleticism gained him a bunch of attention from the next level, and he received a dozen or so offers from college scouts. As a junior that following year, Brock had just under 1,500 all-purpose yards and set a school record with 14 touchdown receptions, as he helped lead Napa to a state playoffs just 1 year after the team finished 0-10. Crazy. Anyways, with all this in mind, it wasn't a shock that he was named the Napa County Player of the Year, and upon that entered his senior season as a preseason All-American. Well, a certain pandemic ended the year before it all began. So to stay in shape, Brock ran up and down the hills in Napa, and despite not playing as a senior, he was still named to the All-American Bowl. Overall, Brock was a highly touted 4-star recruit and the second-ranked tight end in his class, although some schools like Notre Dame were more interested in him moving to linebacker. Anyways, Brock got more than enough attention from schools all across the country, but gravitated towards programs in the South because, as he would say, people just care a lot more about football. It's like a religion out there. And so it wasn't a shock that he would go to one of the best of the bunch in Georgia. Sorry if you hear my computer fan going. It's struggling, but we pushed through. We pushed through just like Brock. Going into his first season with the Bulldogs, Brock was originally set to share playing time with fellow tight ends Darnell Washington and Eric Gilbert. However, Washington broke his foot and Gilbert stepped away for personal reasons. So Brock was the team's primary option as only a true freshman, which is super rare for a school as good as Georgia. But if anyone can handle it, it's Brock. In his first game, in what was a hard-fought 10-3 victory over Clemson, Brock led the team with 43 yards and kept up that momentum the rest of the season with an impressive 882 yards and a program record 13 touchdowns in his first year. A pretty dang good stat line, but even better than that was how Brock showed up in the games that mattered, as he put up an SEC championship record for tight ends with 10 catches and 139 yards against Alabama. And although they lost that game, Georgia still was able to make the college football playoff. And so in the semifinal against Michigan, Brock had 55 yards and a touchdown, as he helped them earn a trip to the Natty, Georgia's first win since 1980. A pretty dang impressive year all around, not gonna lie, and led to Brock being named the SEC Freshman of the Year, along with being second-team All-American and first-team All-SEC. As a sophomore, Brock continued his domination with this time 942 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns through the year, alongside 109 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Against TCU in what was potentially the most lopsided national championship of all time, Brock went crazy with over 150 yards and a touchdown on his final catch of the year as he won 65-7 to win their second natty in 2 years.
For the love of God!
In what would be his last year with the Bulldogs, Brock put up over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns in only 10 games, as he missed 3 of them with an ankle injury. But even then, he was a unanimous All-American and won his second straight John Mackey Award for being the best tight end in college football. After putting together one of the greatest collegiate careers in tight end history, Brock declared for the NFL draft as one of the most highly touted players in his class, and the Las Vegas Raiders recognized that as they took him 13th off the board.
With the 13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers.
Even though he put together one of the most impressive careers for a tight end in college, I don't remember Brock being talked about nearly as much as a former collegiate superstar in Kyle Pitts, partially because he was going to an overlooked Raiders team, but also because somehow Brock flew under the radar at Georgia. To everyone not in the know or in Georgia or any of this stuff, like I know he was popular, but in the wide scheme of things, he wasn't talked about nearly as much as I remember Pitts being. Anyways, back when, around 2 years or so ago, I remember someone commented on my video that I made back in 2022 that Brock was an ex-Cooper Kupp. And although they play different positions, there's a certain style of play that they two have that's very similar. Wink. And so the people that knew were kind of expecting some things for Brock going into his first year. In Brock's NFL debut, he had 58 yards against the Chargers, which is not too shabby, especially for a tight end in the same offense as Devontae Adams. But then he went and completely outdid himself with 9 receptions for 98 yards against a really tough Ravens defense.
Fake. Minshew. He's got Bowers wide open at the 40. Brock Bowers.
Keep in mind, it's super early on, but I think that Brock will keep putting together great performances one after the other because he's super talented and he shows up when you need it the most. For a quarterback like Gardner Minshew, having both Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers is pretty dang awesome, and I'm sure that passing offense will only get better and better as they get more used to each other's playing styles. All this in mind, I don't think it's that crazy to think that Brock could work his way towards becoming the best tight end in football within the next few years at this rate. Albeit, there is some good competition in young studs like Laporta and Pitts, and the super talented Travis Kelce, Kittle, Andrews, and all the guys all across the league. Anyways, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but it's just super cool to see Brock play as well as he has so far, especially against a team like Baltimore, one of the best defenses in football. And putting together a performance like that in only week 2 is super rare for someone as young as him, especially as a tight end. But just like at Georgia, Brock is just a unicorn. Thanks for watching this video. You can subscribe, like, and you know what, honestly, dislike if you want. But either way, I hope you have a nice day, especially Brock if you're watching, and peace out.